Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
I'm really excited about this one. One of our favorite teams and programs over, we've been doing this for about a year now. Luke Taylor here, Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show. Sam's not with me today, but he's here in spirit. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. But we got current head basketball coach for the South Florida Bulls, Coach Ben Fletcher, joining us. Coach, welcome to the press.
Coach, thank you for having me.
He called me a coach. Oh, that feels great. I coach third and fifth. If you need some tips, I'm 6-0 right now. So,
we'll talk about that off camera. I need some secret sauce.
Coach, it's been a really you guys have had an interesting year, to say the least. And I don't want to touch on it too much. I want to talk about you and the kind of the current status. We talk about as coaches. I'm a former coach, and I guess I still am too in life in general and coaching. But we talk about adversity. You guys have handled it since day one. The weather, and then obviously the unfortunate passing of Coach Amir. That was terrible, and I'm sorry for your loss. We had the good fortune of interviewing him a couple of times, and the Go Bulls, and what have you. But you're actually really kind of like living it right now. And I guess how has that been? You guys kind of started off a little bit slow, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. You had a lot going on, but you guys are playing some really good ball as of late. What is the kind of how have the players been? I can't even imagine, because these guys are still young men.
Right. They're a very resilient bunch, man. From the time that we told them about, Coach Amir, there were an array of emotions, obviously. But man, when they started reaching out to me, talking about, hey, can we practice? And I'm like, man, yeah, after all this, you guys want to practice, and man, it was all of them. They were on one accord. And I just remember it was a Saturday morning, I didn't have to say anything. Our strength coach didn't have to say anything. Man, they had a different level of energy about them, attention to detail. And so I knew from that practice, I said, man, these guys, I think they're going to want to play. And, man, from that day forward, man, those guys have been great.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, given the circumstances, man, you got to be a little more patient, because, it's a severe, trauma for them. So, the only thing that we've done is try to put them in position to get the help that they need, so that they can handle this. I had a freak accident like this earlier in life, probably about 8-9 years ago. My cousin Marcus Millhouse, that played with me, throughout high school. We went to junior college together, and then we ended our career at Troy University together. Man, he passed away in a car accident, and I knew personally I didn't handle it well. I kind of shut down. I didn't want to talk to people. I was pushing family away, and I just knew, like, man, I needed to handle this situation a lot better than I did the last time. And man, I met with different people, and they got me on the right track, and I urged the guys to do the same. And so Lee Butler and MK, our AD, and Jackie Grant, man, they've been awesome with giving us the resources that we need, so we can be there for these guys. And lastly, too, before I move on, man, I really want to, urge people to, keep Ari and the kids in their prayers, because I don't think people realize, every day when that dude got off work, in between his time of talking to recruits, watching film, getting ready for the next practice, man, he made time for those kids and for her. And so, it's a holiday season, obviously finishing up. But, man, it's a difficult time for them. And, we just want to make sure we can do everything possible to help brighten their day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I have 3 kids, so I understand that. And it's still, I still don't believe it's real, but he lives through us and what have you, whether it's you, the kids, other people that touched me. I only got to talk to him for maybe an hour. I mean, he's the type of person you can relate to this. I mean, you started with him, Kennesaw State, and I want to talk about Kennesaw State a little bit, but he's a guy you meet him and it's like, how can you not want to be around him? I mean,
genuine. He's genuine. When he told you something, it wasn't just for show. It just, he was that type of guy to where you can meet him one time, but whatever he told you or whatever promise he made you, you can rest assured that he got it done. It might have not been in that time frame that you were thinking, but I guarantee you he got it done.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were kind of a hooper back in the day. Had a pretty darn good career at Troy State. I still know it as Troy State. I'm pissed it's not Troy State anymore.
Me too.
You went when it was Troy State. You graduated when it was Troy State.
No doubt.
So you were all conference tournament MVP. What was that like going to the NCAA tournament as a player? And then at your alma mater going back, was one more sweeter than the other one as an assistant coach or as a coach?
Man, they both were special because it was the first. So, when you go as a player, and I know we had some super talented teams that came before me, and we've had some super talented teams that came after me too. But to be the first team to go was special, all right, as a player. But, moving through the ranks, years go by, and man, I kind of jump into the coaching thing right away instead of going playing professionally. And man, to be around some of those teams that we put together, man, going as a coach too, that thing, it was special too now, just because, man, you're in it every day, as a coach, and very similar to how we did it at Kennesaw State. Man, we kind of struggled early in those first couple of years. We brought in a really good recruiting class. Those guys stuck around. And then by year 4, man, is an explosion. Bam. All of a sudden, we get on a roll at the end of the season. We won, I think, 9 out of 11 to go into the conference tournament. And then, we're one game from being like second place and we get a bye. But because of one game, we go all the way to 6. And so we're the 6th seed in the tournament after being one game out of second place. And all of a sudden, now you got to win 4 games in 5 days. And man, we start rolling. We win our first game by 20. We get a day off, and now we come back and we play the number 3 seed. We win that game by 20. Next night we play the 2 seed, and we're down 15, I think. We win that game by 15 or 16. And then we come back in the championship game against the number 4 seed, Texas State, who's the juggernaut defensive team in the league at that time. And man, just went back and forth, and we're able to edge them out. So I don't know if I could put one above the other. They both were special.
Yeah.
Because as a coach, man, you have your hand in recruiting. So that makes it special because, you guys trust you to come play for you in that program, and man, the goals is to play in the NCAA tournament. So to see those guys, to go through the recruiting process and see those guys accomplish that's a major feeling too.
Yeah. What was the pull to leave your alma mater to go to Kennesaw State? I mean, let's be honest, when you look at it from a career move, I mean, what you guys did at Kennesaw State is always going to be remembered, probably one of the biggest turnarounds in NCAA Division I history.
Right.
What was that pull like that made you go to Kennesaw State? And then what was that pull for you to go with Coach Amir to South Florida?
Well, I mean, it was Amir. We had known each other for a really long time. Side story. He and I played against each other in college.
Because he was at Southeast Louisiana State, right?
Southeastern.
Southeastern Louisiana.
So we played against each other my senior year, which was his junior year. We won, by the way. Just make sure. We won, by the way. Now, look, if you ask him, he's going to say he scored the most points. And I would always get on him.
Don't matter, man. The scoreboard says win and loss. I talked about my kids today about that, about team and visitor.
Exactly. So I used to tell him all the time, I said, you wouldn't want Jaden Reed saying that.
That's cold.
But we played against each other. And then Man, it's a crazy deal. My head coach at Troy coached his head coach at Texas A&M in high school. Yeah. So Billy Kennedy was his
Yeah.
head coach that he played for in college, and then he worked with at Texas A&M. My college coach, once he retired in at Troy, he went and worked with them at Texas A&M as a special assistant to the head coach. So we would always keep in touch. You know, coach would call me and, you know, I have a chat with Amir because they were in the office together or something. And then every time I would see him on the road, man, we would always bump into each other, and we would always kind of, you know, send a note back and forth or a text message, good win, stuff like that. We always keep in touch. And then it's funny, uh, man, he gets the job, and Coach Maestri calls me. He said, "Hey, you ought to call Amir about, you know, about trying to go to Kennesaw State." And I said, "You know what? I will." So I call him, and he doesn't answer, and he texts right back, "Man, I'll call you back." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." I bet everybody blowing your phone up right now. Well, he calls me, and man, we talked for probably hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. And man, I was sold. I said, "Man, I'll come tomorrow. I'll come tomorrow." And he was like, "Man, well, let me just get it finalized and all of this stuff. And, you know, take your time, you know, just, you know, do your thing here." And so it's funny. My high school coach, Anthony Sewell, he was working at Alabama State at the time. And so he was going to Atlanta to recruit at a junior college event. And I said, "Man, you know what? They got a little tournament that's going on over in Marietta." I said, "Man, why don't I ride with you? And then you could just drop me off at that tournament. And then, you know, I'll link back up with you later and ride back to Bama with you." So we do that. And I go to this tournament knowing that it was some Alabama teams that were going to be there. And the first game I had scheduled on my list was a team out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I watched a big kid, Cole LaRue. So I'm walking through the gym, you know how it is when you're at these AAU tournaments. Coaches there, you're speaking to everybody. And I finally make it to my court, and guess who's there? Amir. And so, man, he said, "Man, what you doing here?" I said, "Man, I just wanted to check this team out, this Bama team, and a couple more that's gonna be here." I said, "Might as well. I had a little time." So he was like, "Man, what you know about this kid right here?" I said, "Who, Cole LaRue?" He said, "How you know?" I said, "Yeah, Amir, I've recruited in the state of Alabama now. So like I'm gonna know the Alabama team." And so we immediately he was like, "Nah, man, you're definitely getting hired." I was like, "Well, hold on now. You were still thinking about it. You told me you were gonna hire me now." And he was like, "No." And then he tell me, he said, "Man, watch this kid later and tell me what you think." And guess who that kid was?
Chris Youngblood.
Chris Youngblood.
Good guess, huh?
Yep, great guess. You did your homework, man.
Yep.
So I watched Chris Youngblood. I called
Ball player.
Ball player. Take Chris Youngblood yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday. Like he is a steal. And we ended up taking both of those kids. Cole LaRue was at Kennesaw with us. Obviously, Chris Youngblood started at Kennesaw with us and then came down here with us. He was player of the year in the league. So
yeah.
Yep.
It's funny. You got to watch them Georgia boys, man.
They're different. Well, Chris Youngblood's a Bama guy now.
Well, no, but I'm saying the coaches, you know, Coach Amir is the Atlanta guy. And then we've had Coach Hayes, Jonas Hayes, who was absolutely hilarious at Georgia State.
Big time guy.
So talk about the team. I mean, you guys are, I think you're peaking at the right time, you know, conference play. And like you said, anything can happen, especially come the conference tournament. And you look at like UAB struggled a little bit. I mean, UAB was preseason, conference team of the year, which preseason rankings mean crap, as you know. No offense to the people that like that, but
you
know, you're 8-6. You know, Jaden Reed came back as a sophomore, which is kind of unheard of, especially in the American Athletic Conference, which I absolutely love and adore. Kobe Knox, and then you got Jameel Reynolds, 6'11" senior, averaging almost 10 and 10, 10.8 and 7.7. I mean, they're really playing well. We'll talk about the team a little bit.
Man, we're a different looking team than last year, but man, we got this. To me, I think we got the same makeup. I think we have a unselfish group that wants to play for each other, and is led by Jaden Reed, and then you have Kason Jennings, a guy that played for us at Kennesaw as well, who sat out here last year, and Brandon Stroud, another guy that played for us at Kennesaw. Man, he's been those three guys have done a great job of kind of being the leaders on this team, along with Kobe Knox, Jamil Reynolds, and and a host of other guys. But the team, man, we're work in progress, man. We're getting better. As of our last three, I think you're starting to see a resemblance of last year's bunch, where, man, high level defense followed by very unselfish play offensively. And the more we stay on that type of pattern, I think you're going to see this team get better and better and better as the year goes on.
Yeah, and I saw glimpses of like Loyola. That was a really close game.
Oh, yeah.
Utah State. I mean, Utah State was undefeated up until about a week ago and is doing phenomenal. So that's going to help, your kind of rating and ranking and Ken Palm and stuff like that.
No doubt.
So you've always been there. It's just like you needed that little bit extra push. And I think, Monday's going to be a big test tonight. You're playing against Wichita State at Wichita State. Then you got a little bit of a break. Then you go to Tulane, UAB, and Tulsa. So you've got a nice. I kind of like that conference schedule for you guys. Yeah. You're going to be challenged. I mean, every game is going to be a tough game and stuff like that. How is your philosophy? I mean, you're kind of thrown into this, but I don't like to talk about religion and politics, but God has put you in this position for a reason. And you kind of shared a story 8 years ago when you went through it. So I think you're the person for this moment right now. How has your philosophy kind of changed? Did you kind of tweak things, or did you just kind of like, hey, this is what our philosophy has been as a program. We're just going to roll through it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to change anything. Like, the thing is, like, we branded this thing together, starting in Kennesaw. So he and our last staff, like, man, we all had a hand in how we were going to play. So nothing should change for us. It's the same thing. It's the same mantra. Nothing would change, because at the end of the day, this is what this program was built on, and that's the truth. And so, it's no need to change anything. Like, everything that we did last year, we did it as a staff. And so we would like to keep it that way.
Mm-hmm. How different is, because you've kind of been, and this is not a knock on you, a career assistant. Yep. Now you're the head man. How has that been for you as you keep developing and in a young still coaching career?
Yeah, it's challenging. It's a lot of stuff that you don't think about on a day-to-day that you didn't do as an assistant. As an assistant, man, I'm used to being on that floor with those guys every day. I'm used to different avenues, right? Mm-hmm. But now it's a little more, man. That like, and I've always watched the films and did all the things like that. But it's just the other stuff, like donors and obligations and different stuff.
You have to talk to people like me.
Right?
Come on, be honest.
So from an organization standpoint, that's been the thing that's been the most different.
Right.
But it's it's fun. It's still coaching, and it's basketball, and it's trying to figure out the other team and trying to put our guys in the best position possible for each game.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a little thing called the shot clock, and it's really not a shot clock. And Sam usually sets it up. Just 1 or 2 word answers. If you need to say more, say more. There's no wrong or right. It's just going to be really easy. I'll go soft on you, okay?
All right.
1 word to describe USF.
The school?
Yeah. The school, the basketball program. Give me 1 word to describe it.
On the rise.
Okay. On the rise. That's 3 words, but we'll let you pass. Must be that Troy State degree. No wonder they changed it to Troy. Too many words. All right. 1 word to describe the American Conference.
Tough.
Okay. Who leads your team in personal fouls called per game?
Stroud.
2.9, and you did not hesitate.
Stroud.
So you play a little physical?
Take too many chances.
Okay. But if you take chances, you're either going to get 1 or 2 things. It's going to work out, or you're going to get called a foul.
And his ring more towards the fouls.
Yeah, but you know what you tell them? Make sure they remember the fouls. Get both hands in there, not just one.
Right.
Who leads the conference in team fouls right now?
If I had to guess, North Texas?
Rice.
Right. Yep. I knew it would be one of the good defensive teams.
Yeah, 18.2. Who has the least amount of fouls called against them? This might factor in your game plan for one of these 4 games upcoming. I'll give you a hint.
Tulsa?
No, and you're playing them at home. Wichita State, baby. They don't. The referees love Coach Mills. He's a really good floor painter too. Ask about he painted steps. You guys are 7th, 17.0. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I asked this to Coach Amir, and the look I'll never forget. If they made a candle after you, what scent would it be?
That's a good question. I mean, cocoa butter.
You know what he said? He said like gunpowder. Like didn't realize that was a candle.
I believe it. That's a dangerous candle.
I know. Give me your top 5 college basketball players to come out of Alabama.
Chuck Davis, Antoine Petway, Donnie Johnson, Doc Robinson.
He was a ball player.
And Brian Williams.
Ooh. They can hoop a little bit down in Alabama.
They can hoop a little bit down there.
Yeah, they can hoop down in Alabama. Give me your most memorable game, either playing or coaching.
Probably as a player in junior college. I played at Enterprise State, and we have a junior college in my actual hometown, Selma.
Mm-hmm.
I came home, and we played that game. A couple guys were red shirting, but when I'm home in the summer, I would always go over there and play. And so we come home to play, and Wallace gets off to a pretty good start, and I got these guys on the sideline on the first row that know me from playing in the summer. They want to talk trash, and I ended up scoring 40, and we won the game. So I got the last laugh.
It's like we had Leon Rice, the head coach at Boise State, and he was assistant at Gonzaga. Mm-hmm. And, he had Adam Morrison, and he used to talk trash to Adam Morrison to piss him off. Yeah. But I can't remember who he was playing. I think it might have been Calipari or something. They were playing in the NCAA tournament game. And he said to his players at Kentucky, I think it was Kentucky, he said, or maybe it was Memphis, he said, do not talk anything to Adam Morrison. And it's like, I think one of them did by accident, and he just went off. So that's pretty impressive. So 2 more questions for you.
Yep.
Funniest recruiting story.
I got a good one, man. I don't know if I should tell it.
It's all right. No one will listen. No one's watching. So whatever. It'll be in the space forever, in the cloud.
All right. So, hey, look, this is a good one because I'm gonna make myself look bad, but okay. So, me and Coach Amir, we were going recruiting together for the first time at Kennesaw, year 1, and we were going to Birmingham, Alabama. So we were taking all these back roads, to get to Interstate 20.
I'm moving around Alabama, so I understand that.
Yeah. So we're leaving Kennesaw, and man, I take a Spark, like an energy drink. And so I take the Spark, and as soon as he comes to pick me up, I'm driving. I get car sick now if I'm not driving. So I always drive, and he get mad. Man, you're not going to just chauffeur me around. I said, man, we're riding together. You don't have to ride in the back. You just ride in the passenger seat. So first thing, man, everybody that knows Amir, he's a Starbucks guy, right? Loves Starbucks. So we go to Starbucks. He was like, "Man, you want something?" I was like, I really had I had a energy drink earlier. I'm good. And man, I ended up getting one, and I'm not a coffee drinker. I'm not a big coffee drinker anyway. Man, we get on these back roads going through these little country towns, leaving Kennesaw, and man, he was like, "Hey man, you okay?" I said, "Why you ask that?" He said, "Cause man, the speed limit is 55 and you're going like 80 on these back roads." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, I gotta get to a restroom, man. I don't think this coffee and this energy drink is mixing."
Oh my!
Man, we're speeding down the interstate to get to the first truck stop we see, and man, he never let me live that down, man. Let me live down, man.
Oh, that's funny. I was going to say, did you get to the recruit? But I'm like, did you ever get there? Is more, I guess, more appropriate.
Exactly. We got there. We got there.
Yeah, I've never met anybody that's driven so far from Kennesaw State in Alabama in less than 35 minutes. So
I'm telling you.
And those back roads in Alabama, because I've been to Alabama a couple of times and golfed and then played some D2 sports down at Arkansas Tech. So I know Alabama. And
yep.
I'll tell you, they don't have lights on these back roads either.
No, not at all. And look, I was telling them, I said, man, look, man, we got to be careful what towns we stop in too. Now we may have to follow. Hey, we may need to get gas now because the next 2 towns we need to keep going.
Yeah. It's I love the South, but it's obviously had a kind of a unfortunate past. Give me the song that best describes you, your walkout song. What's your anthem?
All My Life by Nipsey Hussle.
All My Life.
Yeah,
that's yeah, I like that.
Sacrifice.
That. I'll tell you, one of my favorite songs because it was Coach Amir. He said, "All There."
All There.
Yeah.
Jeezy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I listen to it, I think about that. I'm like, okay, but that was him, right? But
when did you interview him though?
I interviewed him a couple of times. Interviewed him, I think, in June, and then I interviewed him at the week of the your conference media day.
Okay.
Media day. So I probably interviewed him a week or two before he passed, unfortunately. And Chad was working on him, getting him back, and he agreed about it. It was just getting him. So yeah.
So he didn't say "Hustle and Motivate" by Nipsey Hussle.
All There.
All There.
Yeah, great song. But Coach, Coach, you looked at your past. You shared some stories. I don't think you're going to let go because of that recruiting story. But never drink an energy drink and coffee, especially if you're not a coffee drinker.
Hey, listen, we've learned that lesson. I can tell you that.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, hopefully he gave you a 5-star review on Uber. But I'm going to let you have the floor for the next minute or so. What do you want to say to kind of the current team, the Bulls faithful, the alumni, the boosters, the fans? Just what can they expect this next? I guess expects the rest of the conference season and conference tournament.
Well, I think what you've seen these last 3 games are what you'll see with these guys moving forward, and that's a resemblance of last year's bunch of really honing in on the defensive end of the floor, and then sharing the ball, with each other on offense. I wish everybody come out and support these guys. They've been working extremely hard. And I tell people all the time, I said, man, after this year, man, I think I can get a book deal on going through the most adversity in a season. But these guys, through it all, man, they've come in with their hard hats on every single day and responded like no other. So, man, please come out and show some support for these guys. And I think, man, you'll like the brand of basketball that you see.
Yeah, the American Athletic Conference is one of my favorite conferences. I used to coach, and Sam played in Conference USA. So, it's kind of a morph of Conference USA in my eyes. It's great basketball, really good basketball, high major basketball and stuff like that. So you're going to stick on one more second. We're just going to upload, but don't forget to check out the USF Bulls. Go Bulls. I'm really excited to see what they can do. And you never know. Should have made the tournament last year, not your fault. Maybe go dancing this year. That would be kind of a icing on the cake this year. But thanks to Coach Fletcher and Sam, and I'll be back next week. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. Check out the College Full Court Network for all your home of college hoops, as we like to see it. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. And we'll see you next week on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.
Go Bulls.